I mean, I don't know exactly like what you're going to be comfortable talking about, but everybody keeps saying that you were the trigger man. Is that accurate?
Next question.
Can't talk about that.
Let's talk about that.
Why did he end up getting shot anyway? Like, why? Especially
I don't feel like the drugs was part of the situation. I just feel like, I don't know, we was just kids from the hood. Too much movement. That's all. Too much.
Pop Smoke's case just took a crazy twist. One of the killers who walked free is now caught up in a shocking new street incident. The internet's buzzing, rumors are flying, and what happened next has everyone asking, did karma finally catch up? Pop Smoke's killer is reportedly caught up in a wild new street situation, and it's got everyone talking. Where it is, he got caught slipping in New York by some local goons. And this isn't just any random person. It's the same dude who dodged a life sentence because he was too young when the murder happened.
Pop Smoke was known by some of the biggest names in the business, like Nicki Minaj and 50 Cent. His murder has stunned fans everywhere.
Everybody's talking about it. Police say suspects broke into his home and shot him.
For months, this guy's been moving reckless, trolling Pop Smoke online, dropping slick disses, and even hopping on podcasts like he was untouchable. But according to Street Whispers, that boldness didn't last long. Once his name started floating around again, the streets reacted quick. And if that wasn't shocking enough, what allegedly happened to the brother of the other shooter sent chills through everyone. Found on a beach inside a barrel. Unreal. This whole situation feels like something out of a movie, but it's being talked about heavy right now. So let's break it down. For those who don't know how all this started,
How would you describe what was going on that night? Maybe even just like take us through the day if you want.
Well, I'm not finna get into detail about too much, but it was a robbery. Nobody did none of that. That's all false information. There's a lot of pages that's like giving out false information, YouTube's, like the vlog, false, like they don't know nothing, y'all don't know nothing y'all talking about, y'all just assuming, and y'all just putting shit together as y'all going.
here's the backstory. February 19th, 2020, a date fans will never forget. That's when the world lost Pop Smoke, one of Brooklyn's brightest rising stars. He was just 20 when his life was taken during a home invasion in the Hollywood Hills. Tragic doesn't even begin to cover it. Pop was on his way to superstardom, and just like that, gone. 5 people were arrested for his murder. Most of them were teenagers, just kids chasing fast money. But one of them, the one said to be the trigger man, was only 15. Because of that, when he confessed in juvenile court, he couldn't get life. Instead, he was sent to a youth facility until he turns 25. That's it. No real punishment that fits what went down.
Then like the way they bring up the situation and they be saying like rest in peace, so they be disrespectful themselves. They be like I don't know. I just feel like if that was my boy and they're posting them and speaking on a situation like that, like I feel like you my op too.
What's the disrespectful part?
Fast forward to his release and things got wild. This dude really thought he could just slide back into regular life, acting like everything was cool after taking out one of New York's biggest stars. But New York wasn't having it, not one bit. And before we get deeper into what reportedly happened to him, let's remember why Pop Smoke's death hit so hard. This wasn't just another rapper gone too soon. Pop Smoke redefined New York hip-hop. He made Brooklyn drill global. Tracks like Welcome to the Party, Dior, and For the Night weren't just songs. They were movements that had the whole city lit. Pop had that unmistakable, deep, gritty voice that made you feel every bar. Pop had it all, the voice, the energy, the presence. He carried that superstar aura that couldn't be faked. Big name artists like Travis Scott, Nicki Minaj, and Quavo were already lining up to work with him. Everyone wanted a piece of his wave. Pop was just getting started, and the whole industry knew he was about to take over the game. After his passing, his album Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon dropped, and boom, it shot straight to #1. It stayed there for weeks. That's how strong his impact was. People weren't just mourning another artist, they were grieving what could have been, a once-in-a-generation talent gone too soon.
They'd be putting it together with like saying that there was, a bag with an address that was posted online. There was a photo of him and his friend where you could see the address in the background. Is a lot of that not true? It's just people putting shit together after the fact?
Oh, that part I can't speak about because I don't know how the address got. I don't know that part. So I can't even speak on that. I'm not finna share.
So when the guy responsible for his death got out and started acting wild, talking about the murder like it was nothing, That hit deep. You gotta understand the level of disrespect that is. It's not just about one man. It's about disrespecting an entire city, a whole culture, and millions of fans who still play Pop's music with pride. So instead of laying low or showing any kind of regret, this dude decides to chase clout. He jumps on podcasts, doing full-blown interviews, reliving that night like it was some story to brag about. The way he was talking, straight up cold. Let me break this down, because this part had people furious. In one of those interviews, the host tries to ask if it was a setup or a robbery gone wrong. And this dude answers like it's nothing serious. He said, it was a robbery. Nobody sent us there. Nobody did none of that. That's all false information. It's a lot of pages that's like giving out false information on YouTube. They don't know nothing. Y'all don't know nothing. Y'all just assuming and y'all just putting together as y'all going around. Can you believe that? He's talking about taking the life of one of New York's most loved artists like it's no big deal. No emotion, no guilt, just cold, casual words that made everyone listening furious.
I probably seen one picture of him before and like I thought he was a model. I was like, well, you got a good modeling career going on. I mean, I thought he was just on that route, but then all this happened.
This dude is out here trying to correct the story like he's some kind of expert, not the person who took a life. And trust me, it gets worse, way worse. During the interview, the host brings up all the YouTube coverage and online talk about the case, and this kid actually says the way they bring up the situation and be saying like rest in peace to them, they be disrespectful. I don't know, I just feel like if that was my boy and they posted them and speaking on a situation like that, I feel like you my op too. Wait, what? The man who killed Pop Smoke is calling other people disrespectful for talking about his death? The audacity is insane. The lack of self-awareness is unreal, bro. Then the interviewer tries to press him about how they even found Pop's address that night.
Up in the morning, I didn't wake up, I didn't go to sleep, and was like, damn, I'm just lost.
There were rumors about Pop's homie Mike D posting a picture with a gift bag that showed the address. When asked about that, the guy says, that part I can't speak about because I don't know how the address got found. I don't know. I'm not going to say a lie to nobody. But then out of nowhere, he dropped something wild. He admits, I didn't know him at all. I didn't know of him. I probably seen one picture of him before and I thought he was a model. I was like, he got a good modeling career going on. A model? He thought Pop Smoke, one of the hottest rappers in the world, was a model? That shows how disconnected and careless this whole thing was. And then he goes on with this bizarre line. All of this happened. I'm like, I wake up in the morning. I don't wake up. I didn't go to sleep. I'm just like, damn, I'm just lost. Lost? That's his idea of remorse? You take someone's life and all you can say is you feel lost? That's not accountability. That's cold confusion.
Everybody keeps saying that you were the trigger man. Is that accurate?
Next question.
But it doesn't stop there, because when the interviewer hits him with the big question, were you the trigger man? This kid just says, next question. What kind of answer is that? That's not a denial. That's basically admitting it while trying to sound clever. The arrogance, the lack of emotion, the whole tone, it left people speechless. He knows he can't flat out admit it on camera. That'd be straight up dumb. But notice he's not denying it either. He just brushes past it like it's some awkward family topic at Thanksgiving. Then he starts diving into what happened that night in more detail. He says, nobody was intended to get hurt. Nobody was intended to get hurt that night. But then right after that, he contradicts himself. He adds, there was too much movement going on. Movement from Pop Smoke, movement from everybody in the house. Too much going on. It wasn't intentional. We wasn't on that.
Too much movement. That's all, too much movement. Movement from everybody. Too much shit going on. It was too much shit going on. So it's like, it wasn't intentionally.
So which one is it, bro? Was it an accident, or was there too much chaos that forced your hand? Those are two completely different stories. And the fact that he can't keep his story straight while casually talking about taking someone's life, that's what made people furious. Then he admits something that makes it even worse. He said, I was off a perk, so I wasn't really fully aware of anything. Like, really? You're saying you went on a robbery while high off pills, not even thinking straight, and someone ended up dead, and you think that somehow makes it sound better? That's not an excuse. That's even more reckless.
The interviewer then asks if he and his crew had done robberies like this before, and he drops that same cold response. Next question. Again, no denial, just dodging, and that silence says everything. Because let's be real, that answer alone tells you this wasn't their first time trying to hit a lick. When asked if anyone from Pop's circle set him up or if it was an inside job, he gets defensive. He says, nobody backdoored nobody. I know that 100% for sure. Nobody backdoored nobody. That female, I can't speak too much on it, but she don't know what she's talking about at all. So yeah, he's trying to shut down the backdoor rumors, but in the most disrespectful way possible. He's talking about the whole tragedy like he's doing us a favor by clearing things up, not like he's the reason a young star lost his life. And here's where it really crossed the line. After those interviews, dude starts acting like a social media celeb, posting on IG, dropping sneaky captions, moving like he's proud of what he did. Like being Pop Smoke's killer is some kind of badge of honor. The streets saw everything. Every post, every story, every interview, all of it got noticed. People were watching closely, keeping track of every move he made, and they weren't gonna let that slide.
Had y'all gone on missions like this before?
Next question.
When you from New York and you take out one of New York's own, you better move smart, real smart, because in a city like that, enemies can pop up on every corner. And for this kid, that was the truth. Pop Smoke wasn't just another rapper, he was Brooklyn. He had the city behind him, from Brownsville to Bed-Stuy. His music was the heartbeat of the streets. Dior had everybody doing the woo walk, and Welcome to the Party was blasting at every function, every car meet, every late night link up. His sound was pure New York energy. So imagine how people felt when this kid started hopping on podcasts, talking about killing Pop like it was casual conversation. He really said stuff like, we was just kids being kids. Like what? Kids being kids is sneaking out after curfew or skipping class, not committing home invasions. Trying to brush off murder as just being young and dumb is wild. But he kept spinning that same story, like that excuse could somehow erase what happened. Then the story took a turn that shook the whole city. Word started spreading all over New York. Pop Smoke's was moving reckless again.
Nobody backdoored nobody. Let's clear that up. Nobody, I know that 100% for sure. Nobody backdoored nobody. That female, I can't speak too much on it, but her, she don't know what she's talking about.
People saw the interviews, the posts, the arrogance, and they weren't feeling it one bit. He was seen out in public, acting untouchable, like nothing could happen to him. But here's what anyone from Brooklyn will tell you. New York never forgets, especially Brooklyn. So according to multiple street sources and people close to the scene, it finally caught up to him. Reports say he got caught lacking, and not just regular lacking, but bad. He was somewhere he shouldn't have been, probably thinking he was safe since he already did time. And that's when the goon showed up. Now look, nobody can confirm every single detail. Street stories always come in different versions. But one thing that keeps coming up is that he got handled seriously. Not some small scuffle. This was a real violation. The kind of beating that makes you rethink every post, every word, every move you ever made.
And people say it wasn't quick either. This was personal, calculated, and straight up meant to send a message. New York was reminding him, you don't disrespect a legend and think you can just walk around like everything's cool. They waited, watched, and caught him when he least expected it. Now, let's be clear. Violence isn't the answer. Nobody's glorifying that. But the truth is, a lot of people saw it as karma catching up, not because it fixes anything, but because of how boldly disrespectful this guy had been since day one. You can't take someone's life, brag about it online, and expect the city to forget. You can't get a light sentence just because you're young, then hop online doing interviews like you're proud of what you did. That's not how it works. The streets don't move like the courtroom. They follow their own code. The courts might have treated him like a juvenile, but the streets? They don't care about your age. They care about respect, loyalty, and never disrespecting the dead. And this kid broke every rule in that book. But here's where things get darker, way darker. Remember, 5 people were arrested in connection to Pop Smoke's murder. One of them was a guy named Jaquan Murphy. He didn't end up being charged in Pop's case, but he's currently behind bars for another murder. Yeah, that's the kind of path we're talking about. Now here's the chilling part. Jaquan had a brother named JTA Murphy, and this is where things turn absolutely horrifying. On July 31st, JTA's body was found inside a 55-gallon barrel floating near the Pacific Coast Highway Bridge in Malibu. Yeah, a barrel in the ocean. The story is straight out of a nightmare. A maintenance worker spotted the barrel first, just drifting in the water. He tried to pull it to shore, but it was too heavy, so he left it, thinking it was just junk or maybe old equipment. The next morning, a lifeguard came on duty, noticed it still floating, and swam out to bring it in. But when authorities opened it up, what they found was shocking. JTA's body was inside, completely unclothed, stuffed in that barrel like he was nothing. The coroner ruled it a homicide right away. And get this, JTA wasn't just some random person. He was an aspiring rapper himself. He loved music, dreamed of making it big, maybe even inspired by Pop Smoke. And now his story ends in the most tragic way imaginable. They're trying to figure out if someone tied to Pop, or even just a fan who felt like justice wasn't served, decided to take matters into their own hands. Think about that for a second. Someone connected to Pop's case ends up dead, stuffed in a barrel, floating in the Pacific Ocean. That's not random. That's a message. It shows just how far people's emotions have gone since Pop Smoke passed. The energy, the rage, the hunger for justice, it's been brewing nonstop. And when the actual shooter gets out and starts doing podcasts, cracking jokes, and moving like he's untouchable, what do you think's gonna happen? You think people are gonna just scroll past that and move on? Nah. There are folks out there who feel like the system failed Pop, failed his family, and failed Brooklyn.
See, here's what outsiders don't get. The streets live by their own unwritten rules. You don't brag about what you did. You don't go public and explain how it happened. You keep quiet. You show remorse or you disappear. But this kid, he broke the code completely, and the streets never forget that. You don't ever move like you proud of taking someone's life, especially when that person was loved by millions. This kid broke every rule in the book. He got out and instantly started acting like he was unstoppable, doing interviews where he casually talked about the murder, posting online like he was famous, and showing zero remorse, no guilt, no accountability, no awareness of how deep his actions cut. And the culture responded exactly how you'd expect. Hip-hop has always had its own code, and when someone violates it, history shows what happens next. The streets move on their own time, and when you act reckless and disrespect the dead, they handle it their way. That's exactly what happened here. They caught him lacking and made an example out of him. Let's keep it 100. The legal system failed Pop Smoke. There's no other way to say it. The person responsible for ending his life got sent to juvenile detention until 25. That's it. Meanwhile, Pop Smoke, a 20-year-old star who changed the entire sound of New York, never got the chance to live out his future. The one who took him away gets to come out, rebuild his life, maybe even start fresh. Pop never got that chance. So if you're out there thinking you can do something horrible and then brag about it later, this is your warning. The internet doesn't forget. The streets don't forget. And sooner or later, everyone answers for what they've done, one way or another. Pop Smoke's influence is still everywhere. His voice, his sound, his energy, they shaped drill and left a mark on hip-hop forever. Artists still honor him, still chase that same raw vibe he brought to every song. But the man himself, gone way too soon, taken by people who didn't even understand his worth. Rest in peace to Pop Smoke, a true Brooklyn legend. Rest in peace to JTA Murphy, whose story became another dark chapter in all this. And to everyone involved in this tragedy, hopefully something can be learned from it all, because the culture is watching, the streets are listening, and justice, it comes in more ways than one. That's it for this one, fam. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think that beating was deserved? Was it real street justice or just another cycle of violence repeating itself? And should the system be tougher on cases like this? Let's talk about it below. And remember, stay safe out there. These streets don't play games, and they never, ever forget. Peace.